Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another bonus episode of the Healing Her podcast. I am really excited about today's episode. We are diving into the over-complication of spirituality and what that all means and why we overcomplicate it and how to get out of that pattern. So we're talking about so much good stuff today. And also we're going to dive a little bit into self-love. I am doing a course in April called the Self-Love Shift that's all about mind, body, and spirit appreciation through our spiritual workouts, which is our master morning ritual with our Kundalini yoga and our meditation and our gratitude practice and lots of other fun things. And then I'm also working in this month actual physical workouts, which I call movement medicine, because movement really is medicine for the body. And when we look at it that way, and when we transform the way that we see our bodies, exercise, ourselves, we bring in a whole nother appreciation for movement, for exercise, and for what our bodies do for us. And so this month in April, I'm focusing on this idea of the self-love shift and really shifting our mindset when it comes to our body, our food. And so we're going to be doing our spiritual workouts, our movement medicine workouts, seminars every week. I have a guest speaker coming in to do a seminar all on yin yoga and stretching and how it helps you tune into your body and connect with your body. And I do a Reiki session every month, and we have our book club. And you guys, our book club this month, oh my gosh, this book is going to be so good. You're going to learn so much from this book. I can't wait to discuss it more with you. And of course, I always do lots of daily messages and fun readings and just give you guys a lot of different things to think about. And so we're going to straight dive into self-care and self-love, and we're doing a 30-day self-care challenge. And it's the HHC month of me. So if you want to be involved in it, you can get everything I just talked about plus so much more. And you can learn all about all the more on the website. But it's at abbyeokeefe.com, and the registration is open. We start the self-love shift on Monday. So if you want to get in before we start, you can go ahead and join. It's $33 for everything I just talked about. Plus, you get access to all previous months' content. So we've already had 3 full months, January, February, and March, and it's about 8 to 10 hours of content in each of those months. So you'll get like 30 hours of content when you sign up instantly, plus access to this amazing month that we're going into. And with this program, there are no commitments or contracts. So if you love April and you want to stay, that's amazing. If you loved April, but it's not the right time for you to stay for May, that's totally okay. You just have to let me know. That's how that works. So if you want to join us, want to join the Healing Her Collective and get in this HHC month of me, the self-love shift, the link will be in the show notes for you to go ahead and join us. And I hope to see you all there. It's really a beautiful community of women who want to heal from the inside out and make spirituality fun. And that leads me right into our topic today, because we are talking all about the overcomplication of spirituality and why we see spirituality as something that has to be difficult and painful and that has to hurt. Why do we see it that way? Our entire idea of evolution is that it needs to be painful. And we get this so deeply ingrained in our minds that we accept it as our reality. But reality is quantum. Reality is always constantly changing and constantly moving. And if you accept a painful, hurtful reality, that's going to become your reality for however long you choose to accept it. Remember that what we think about is what we're constantly creating. We're always manifesting. And I talked a lot in a previous episode about how when we are manifesting, the universe does not choose between what we do want in our life and what we don't want in our life and what is good and bad. The universe thinks that, nothing is inherently good or bad, or God, or whatever it is that you believe in. And because nothing is inherently good or bad, the universe is going to give you more of what you put your attention towards, more of what you focus on. So if you're focusing on, pain and hardship, that's what you're going to get more of. If you're focusing on abundance and prosperity and relationships, good, healthy relationships, that's what you're going to get more of. So when we accept this painful reality and when we kind of reinforce that story in our minds that change has to be hurtful and painful and complicated, then it's going to be all of those things. But evolution can be beautiful and freeing and the opposite of painful. And same with spirituality. Spirituality is the evolution of yourself. So consider how you think of change. I just want you to think about this for a minute. Let's talk about moving, because moving is one of those things that we've all done at least once in our life. We've moved, whether it's houses or apartments or states or cities or whatever it is. We have all moved at one point in our life. And moving is a form of evolution. It's an evolution of our physical presence in the world, moving our things, right? And ourself to a different place, a new home. And that's really important because our home is where we have our space, where we live. That's an important part of us. And so it's an evolution of our physical presence in the world. Most people think that moving really sucks, that it's really painful. And so we live in that story. How many times have you felt an upcoming move was going to be the opposite of fun? You've been like getting ready for a move and you've been thinking, oh my gosh, like this move is going to come and I'm not going to be ready for it. And there's no way I'm going to be able to pack in time. And everything's messy. And how am I going to pack my stuff and my kids' stuff and my husband's stuff? And nobody's going to help me. I'm going to end up doing this all on my own. And forget it. We have to clean the house afterwards. It's just going to be an absolute nightmare. And then was it all of those things? Most likely, I would guess that it was. I've never had someone tell me, oh my gosh, you're moving. This is going to be so much fun. Wow, I bet you can't wait for that day to come and to load up all your stuff in the truck yourself and drive it all to the new house and unload it all. That is so not what people say when they talk about moving. This is a pretty basic example of feeling like change has to be painful. We accept the reality of a painful move, and because of this, we're pinned into it. Our spirit anchors itself in that reality. But what if we look at it differently? And if instead of seeing it as painful and as really hard and challenging and difficult, what if we see moving as an opportunity for a fresh start and a spiritual experience to take only the things that we truly love, enjoy, and that bring us happiness into this new space, into this new home, this new evolution of our physical presence in the world? What if we pack and organize our home and prepare all of our favorite things to move and declutter and go through that spiritual experience of decluttering? Because you guys, decluttering is a spiritual experience. Cleaning, tidying, organizing is a spiritual experience. There is something that happens to you when you look at all of the things that you own and you say, does this bring me joy? Does this bring me happiness? And if it doesn't, you donate it or throw it away if it's trash, if it won't work for somebody else. There is something so profound about that. This was one of the beginnings of my spiritual journey. I know I talked all about my spiritual coming out, but one thing I didn't mention in that episode was that I read the book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. And in that book, she talks about this method of decluttering and organizing your life and going through everything that you own, touching every single item of everything that you own and deciding whether or not it brings you happiness. And then if it doesn't, you get rid of it. And if it does, you keep it. And then you know everything you have and you love everything you have, and it truly makes you happy. And when I did this over a year ago now, it was like before all my anxiety hit and before my true awakening, but it prepared me for that. When I did it, it was an unbelievable spiritual experience. It was wow, it like blew my mind. I had no idea that I needed it as badly as I did, and it ended up being so important to me. It cleared up so much mental and emotional and spiritual space for me. I was getting so many ideas after that. My creative flow was better. My abundance flow was better, because when your space is tidy and when you love everything that you have and you don't look at it as clutter or just things, it has a better energetic flow to it. And it's not like bogged down with negative energies or just like stagnant energies because you're never wearing it or moving it or touching it. And so that's kind of a little bit off track, but decluttering is a spiritual experience. And so moving can be a spiritual experience. In fact, I did the decluttering Marie Kondo process leading up to a big move that Tim and I were doing to the house that we're in now last fall. And it was unbelievable. So I highly recommend it. And if you've never read that book and your house is kind of a mess and you really want to just love everything that you have and not have things in your house that you don't love, definitely pick up that book by Marie Kondo. It's unbelievable and will change your life. So let's go back to this idea that spirituality and that change and evolution has to be painful. So now I've given you a pretty basic example that I think we can all kind of relate to of a time when we've decided that change and evolution of the move that we're in is going to be painful. And so it was painful. And this is really the beginning of our viewpoint. The spirituality and being a spiritual being is hard and painful and dark and scary. Being spiritual is a learning experience of you. It's an experience of who you are without all the fear, without all the clutter that's in your mind, without anything that's that's fear-based and ego-based, and it's really who you are at a soul and consciousness level. It's being spiritual. We're all spiritual beings, and being spiritual is a learning experience of that part of yourself. So you're a spiritual being, and I think we all really want to learn about ourselves in that way. We want to find our purpose, and we want to make our mark in the world, and it's about evolving at a soul and consciousness level and allowing yourself to let go of self-limiting beliefs, of old patterns and pains from the past, and evolving into a new way of thinking about and viewing yourself, the world around you, and the people of this planet. And because we think it's hard and scary and full of pain, it is, because we accept that as our reality, and then we attach ourselves to that reality, and we keep manifesting more of that reality and that reality into our life. But we can have fun with our spirituality and discovering ourselves. And I think that part of the way that spirituality gets overcomplicated is that we feel like we have to participate in all of these spiritual things and do all of the spiritual workshops and read all of the spiritual books and go to all of the spiritual classes and buy all the crystals and all the oracle card decks and do all of these things that we get kind of bogged down in the stuff of spirituality, the tangible things. But I really want to put out there and remind you guys that being spiritual isn't about the stuff. It's about experiencing a learning of who you are. It's not about all of the stuff. It's not about the crystals. It's not about the books. It's not about the tarot cards or the oracle cards. It's not about any of that. It's about you. Spirituality is about you. And that's why I say we're all spiritual beings. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, I'm not a spiritual being. If you want to grow and evolve as a human being at a soul level and like figure out more about yourself and learn more about yourself and why you're here and what you're meant to do, you are a spiritual being. And we are all spiritual beings. Spiritual beings are human beings with souls, and you have a soul. So being a spiritual being is about coming back to a common sense. It's not as difficult as we think it is. We have this judgment of our truth because we don't understand why we do certain things to ourselves, why we play tricks on ourselves, why we tell ourselves these lies. And spirituality is about coming back to the common sense of love. And it's common sense because it's our common sense. It's this common sense. I don't know if this is making sense to you guys, but it's this common. So it's this thing that we all have in common. It's this connection, common also connection that we have to each other. Sense being love. So it's this connection of love. That's how what common sense means to me. It's this connection of love that we have to ourselves and to each other. It's this thread that's woven between us where we all want to grow and we want to better ourselves and we want to, learn more and do more so that we have more to give. And so we can love ourselves wholly and fully and love others wholly and fully, because the truth in this world, you guys, is that love is everything. Love is who we are. It is who we are. And when we can see that in ourselves, we can see that better in others. And that's why I designed the self-love shift for April. And that's why we're talking all about appreciating ourselves in body, mind, and spirit. You can't love yourself for one thing and hate yourself for something else, or judge yourself for something else. You have had the experiences you've had and you've lived the life you've lived for a reason. And if you trust in that and believe in that, then you can learn from it about who you are and about what that was meant to teach you. And I'm really passionate about the idea of self-love and self-care. I talked a lot about this when I ran my health and fitness company for the last 4 years. And it was so important for me to have women specifically, but everybody understand how worthy and deserving that they are. You aren't worthy and deserving because somebody tells you you are. So it doesn't matter that I'm saying this to you. You're worthy and deserving because you're a human being and you have love in your soul and in your heart. And even sometimes when you can't access that, it's still there. And that's what this spiritual experience is about. The basics of spirituality is coming out of that fear-based ego way of thinking and into that common sense, that connection of love to yourself and to other people and to the planet, because this planet loves and supports us and works for us every single day. And so that's really, I don't want to overcomplicate this message. I don't need to make it wordier than it needs to be. What I wanted to really communicate was that spirituality doesn't have to be complicated. And I really choose to demystify the mystical and to make spirituality fun and to make it relatable and understandable. And you don't have to have any knowledge of anything other than who you are to do this journey, to go on this journey. This path, this spiritual path, is meant for you all the time. It's there for you all the time to just accept it and to grow at a soul level and to understand more about you and your place in the world and your place in relation to other people and your purpose. And that's what it's about, you guys. It doesn't have to be this complicated idea that, it's so hard and it's going to be so painful and that I don't want to do it because I'm not ready to expose all my pain. We dance, we have fun, we sing mantra, and we raise our vibration in really cool ways. And it's a really good path. And it's something that doesn't need to be looked upon as scary. And I really want to put my attention towards helping you guys understand that. It's what I'm really trying to do in the Healing Her Collective. And if you guys have seen the website, if not, you should go check it out because I changed the header on the main page to myself meditating on an inflatable swan in the middle of a pool, because that's what spirituality is to me. Life isn't meant to be, we're not meant to struggle in life. We weren't put on this earth to have all of these struggles and trials and to suffer. Yeah, we're meant to go through lessons and to learn things, but we aren't supposed to suffer as human beings. We're here to rediscover our connection to love and to each other. And when we have that, everything opens up and everything changes. And the start of that is self-love. If you can't love yourself, you're not going to be able to open up to receiving love from other people, to giving love to other people. And so that's where we're going to start in April. And it's going to be so much fun. I'm really about bringing fun and relatability to spirituality and just kind of debunking it. It's why I call myself your spiritual personal trainer, because that's fun, right? I'm here to teach you and guide you and help you along this journey and give you these like awesome spiritual workouts that are going to help you clear out some of the stuff that you don't need anymore, like past pain and traumas. But it doesn't mean that it's not fun. Everything we do every single month is fun. I would never commit myself to a path of darkness and dark energies. I don't work in that. I don't communicate that with you guys. My goal is to really help you look at things in new ways, to open up your mindset to perceive things in new ways, and to challenge you to shift the way that you see yourself and the way that you see other people and the world around you. And through that, we can learn to come together and we can change the entire world by loving yourself and by committing to the journey of loving yourself completely without any reservations. You elevate yourself to a whole other level, and people see that from you and they start elevating. And that's how we change the world, you guys. So I hope this message was really helpful for you. This has been coming through so strongly to me and was something I knew that I just needed to share with you guys. I have been getting this, don't complicate spirituality. It's not that complicated. It can be fun. It doesn't need to be painful. And it's only painful if you choose it to be painful. All those messages really have kept coming through in huge ways to me. And so I knew that it was something you guys needed to hear. So again, we start the self-love shift on Monday, April 2nd. If you want to get in, it's $33 and there's no commitment. So if you have felt called to it, I would absolutely love to have you. And that's definitely for a reason. And I hope you have the most beautiful day. There's an amazing episode of the podcast coming for you on Monday with my good friend, Christina Kramer, talking all about being bisexual in a Christian upbringing and also about her truth about love. And we talk about Wonder Woman and Harry Potter, you guys. It is amazing. It's such a good episode. I cannot wait for you guys to hear that. Christina is unbelievable, and you are definitely going to want to listen to that episode. So have an amazing day. I love you all so much. I couldn't even ever put it into words how much I love you. And I will see you all on the next episode.